do you think we can positively influence that kind of identity of aging? Like on that point of the fact that we're going to have to change things, that things are going to have to be very different. Are there things that the average listener today can start to do, that they can start to influence, that we, or
Yeah.
viewer, I guess, but
So I'll say there's three, like kind of starting from the lightest to the little bit more heavy. I think the first is call it out. After you've heard this webinar and you go somewhere and you hear someone say, wow, that person's old, and they have this awful face about it, call it out and say, I was just listening to Ali and Zayna the other day. And, just like you would do it when you hear a sexist comment, right? Or a racist comment, you just call it and practice and notice it a lot more. Notice it in things and call it. And not in a mean way, or, just call it and then move on. The second is yourself being intentional. If you've got places where you might speak or write or create, visual things like videos or slides or images, about the language and the icons you use, the pictures you use to depict this population. And that's not just for, age, but also race and gender and all the things. Just be intentional. Once you do it a few times, you will never go back. And then the next level is really co-design everything, like authentically co-design everything with the very people you're designing for. And not like having them on a committee or having a patient family advisory council, but really like in the more advanced would be let your residents and families actually lead, the design of maybe a new policy or a new practice or the new layout of I don't know what, a floor, I don't know what, but with a methodology to support them. There are some leading places that do it that way. So those would be kind of some immediate examples to just start to shift your mindset around the identity of aging.
you talked about leading places that are doing that. What would be some examples of places you've seen that do that well?
So, I spent a year in the Netherlands on sabbatical in 2017 in this amazing place in this small town called Nijmegen. And, we were like a big academic medical center, but really the major health organization for the whole community. We had a chief listening officer in our org that their job every day was just to be out there and listen to patients and families and hear what's happening. And then an accountability to act on what they found out. When we acted, patients would lead our innovation projects. We trained them, we gave them the skill set, the resources, we paid them, but they led, we supported with methodology, right? That's very different from in most places, the innovation team or the researcher, or the clinician leads. Those kinds of things are examples of a real kind of partnership with people and their families, because they have the biggest stake in what we're designing and probably the best intelligence, so I think it's normal for how you work.